Hello, everybody. My name is Josh, and I've got my finger on the pulse of music. Thank you so much for joining me today. We've got a real special one. Today, it's a special edition to celebrate Pride Month. Hell yeah. I definitely recognize that I'm a couple weeks late to the bat on that. But like I said last week, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life. Dang it, cut a boy some slack. Uh, that being said, I'm super excited for today. This whole playlist that we're going to be digging into is full of queer, non-binary, trans members, like really badass, awesome people, and a lot of music that I don't know. A fair chunk that I do know, and a lot that I don't know. So this is going to be a beautiful opportunity to celebrate some badass queer musicians today. Before we get into it, obviously subscribe to get notified about when the next stream's happening, when the latest reaction's coming up. Make sure to follow me on social media at The Pulse of Music on Instagram and TikTok. And I feel like it's worth speaking for a couple minutes at the top, talking about like why Pride matters, or at least why it matters to me. And I guess like the most obvious reason, first and foremost, is that like I'm queer. I'm a queer person. I'm bisexual. And this may be the first time that I've ever said that on the internet, which is crazy. But now you know, if you didn't know. So I don't want to talk too much about my own personal journey right now. That's going to come next week. So there's a little bit of a hook for you to come back. Next week, I've already got the playlist put together. We're going to listen to a couple songs off of one of maybe the most important albums for my coming out journey. So if you are interested in that, come on back next week at 8 p.m. On a Tuesday. Besides that, though, I mean, it's not just all about me, right? Thank you for the shout outs, Nikki, of course. It's not just about me. Just representation in general obviously matters a lot. We hear that across media resources, but especially when we're talking about scene music, the scenes, I would say, increasingly and very loudly accepting in a lot of ways, very diverse, generally quite wonderful. But like a lot of the scene has come out of a very metal music, which typically is very macho at times, or at least historically has been, right? Like I grew up in the 90s and 2000s, and I remember when a lot of the music that we listened to, a lot of the music that I love was coming up, like everyone would call you gay in a derogatory way if you had flippy hair or wore eyeliner. It didn't matter if you're listening to really heavy stuff like Suicide Silence, or really like mainstream stuff like Black Veil Brides or something. Like that was not accepted in a lot of circles. So we've come a long way from that, but there's still quite a lot of, we still have come from that world, right? So we're trying to like break barriers and continue to work on being a more accepting place. And that starts by listening to music that we think is awesome. And hopefully a lot of the music we listen to tonight is awesome. Of course, wouldn't be remiss mentioning just like a brief political moment too, in terms of the world that we live in being both more accepting and more violent at the same time, right? Like just this week, we had Title IX protections that were extended to queer people by the current administration, knocked down by a federal judge in a Republican state. So, kind of constantly at odds with progressing as a society and regressing in certain areas too, which is why it's more and more important to be loud and visible when you can. And of course, we also know that things like self-harm is a lot higher in the queer community. And I find that for me and for many others, music can really be an antidote to all of that, whether it's the content of the music or just seeing someone, seeing a badass person who speaks to you a little bit more. That is ultimately what keeps us here, what keeps us going, and what breaks down some of the problems in our society. So all that out of the way, all that heavy stuff, we can let it go and we can just focus on the music. So like I mentioned tonight, not all of these songs, I don't know a lot of these songs. I mean, I'm, probably 50-50 with some of these artists of knowing them or not knowing them. They're not necessarily all super queer in content. Like some might be, some probably won't be at all. But the members of these bands, at least one member of all these bands, identifies loudly and proudly as queer or trans or non-binary in some way. And I'm still going to be honest about all this music, right? Like, I definitely don't subscribe that you have to like something just by virtue of who made it. So hopefully I end up liking all this stuff. But even if I don't, I'm sure there's someone out there who will. So this is I want to boost these guys as being badass for existing in the scene, while still potentially, you know, I'm still going to bring my usual level of criticism. So hopefully somebody can get something out of every song on this playlist. Like last week, didn't do a whole lot of research. That's going to be true moving forward. It's pretty uninformed, blind reaction to a lot of this stuff. Pretty hectic life at the moment. So we're rolling in blind and kind of ignorant about a lot of these bands. We're just going to have to bear with that. Obviously, if anybody in the chat knows anything about them, feel free to fill it in. Let's check out this playlist. We got Fox Cult, See You Space Cowboy, RTO, The Here's Collective, Scene Queen, and Trash Boat coming in at 35 minutes, so a bit tighter than last week. As usual, I'm going to rate everything on my typical scale from flatline, meaning not raising my heart rate at all, to a resting heart rate. It's pretty okay, to off the charts, which is really making me sing, making my insides tingle in all the best ways. And before we get started, what do we think the best song or the favorite artist is? Either way, I know I put the playlist together and I put Fox Cult at the top. So for me, we listened to them last week, and I'm really excited to see what else they've got going on. So that's my pick for starting strong, is with maybe one of the things I'm most excited to listen to. I didn't listen to them at all in the last week. We ended the playlist with them last week. First time I ever heard them. Now moving into this week, still haven't heard anything else from them. So truly flying blind. Nikki says misinterpreting constellations, and I would be surprised if that is the case. Knowing Nikki's music taste, I will be surprised if that will be your favorite, because See You Space Cowboy is an interesting band that I don't necessarily think vibes with you as much as it does with me. Pink Rover could be it. I don't know anything about Pink Rover. Let's dive right in, shall we? We're going to start with Fox Cult. With all these pairings, I've ordered them so that the old song is at the first and the new song is second, right? So that we can kind of see if there is a big progression, if there is a leap. I think I did that the opposite way last week, but I would prefer, I'm interested in seeing this like time-based progression. So Fox Cult, I mentioned we listened to them last week. The only thing I can tell you about them is that they're all trans. I read a tweet where they were in a fight with Franz of Attila about pronouns, which is great. I mean, he's such a shithead anyway, so it's hard to be surprised that comes up, but they're definitely on the right side of that. And this song Haunted, I don't believe they've put out a full album yet at all. So this song Haunted was their earliest song that they've put out. Let's get into it. All right. Fox Cult kicking it off strong right there, in my opinion. That was Haunted. And I think for me, it's a high resting. It's not quite off the charts. I think Gemini 4 from last week is a little bit stronger of a song. Curious if anyone was here last week, what they think about that. I am really happy about this, though. I feel like this is continuing. I mean, this is their earliest material, right? But I feel like knowing we listened to their latest material last week, this is their newest material, and I feel like I really like that trajectory feels really strong and powerful to me. That soaring voice is really excited. It makes me really excited to hear that soaring voice in this. And it reminds me of another band that I just can't quite place off the top of my head. Maybe I'll come back to it. Really exciting to hear, again, like the screaming come out as well, especially with such a melodic song of like this. Like I love the layers of guitar that kind of like all carry individual melodies throughout the track, throughout the verse in particular. There's like violin that is really exciting to just kind of peek out of the mix, and piano that really I only heard like one or two plinks of a note, but those are really nice textural qualities. I think the mix is just very crowded is my main takeaway. Like it is really the layers do kind of like wash over each other, and it is hard to really like pick out a hero besides maybe the voice floating above it all. So I feel like that's the thing that I want them to improve on, if it's anything, is like the production. And they've got a lot of layers, but what can be left aside, or how can we like shape that in a way that really drives the song forward? I was gonna say originally too, I didn't think it stuck the landing, except I love that it did. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of these like instrumental outros to a song that doesn't have a lot of instrumental sections to them, but I feel like that helped me with it, the way that it grew out of the bridge and stayed in that sort of screamy, aggressive vibe, and then faded out with the instrumentals. That did work for me. So hats off to them. Also want to mention that they only have 30K listeners on Spotify. I did pull everyone's numbers just so that we have a vague sense of like, how big are these bands? Some of them are bigger than others. And like that obviously carries with it, a sense of popularity, a sense of like accessibility, and also resources. This is a very new small band, 30K. That's it. Let's see what they have in store for us after this. It's the second song, called Silicone Dream. Okay, that was Silicone Dream from Fox Cult. Yeah, I'm gonna give that one an off the charts. I think that's a lot more straightforward, I think, than some of their other songs that we've listened to. But just like coming right out of the gate with those driving drums, I mean, that's certainly like I feel like when bands can pull that off, it's like very gripping. And Fox Cult totally pulled it off in my book. Um, really, I mean, God, I'm obsessed with these vocals. I'm obsessed with the way that the background vocals are just like soaring over the screams in the first verse. I mean, it's like last week we heard similar thing. We heard a similar thing from Advance Animate, but I actually thought that honestly felt a little bit more awkward in that song, or it wasn't quite like the song structure didn't quite support it in this way. And then whereas this song, I mean, just those soaring background operatic layers, really, really just like add a beautiful touch to a just otherwise driving, furious verse. I think that's awesome. I also really find the chorus lyrics interesting. Suffer now so you're ready when it's time to break the patterns that they made. Um, that's like I feel like I've said it many, many times. I'm bad at lyrical, like grasping onto lyrics and analyzing lyrics in the moment. But I find that to be like a really compelling and like touching idea. I mean, no one wants to suffer, right? But like it's kind of a mantra, maybe. Suffer now so you're ready when it's time to break the patterns that they made. And like it kind of sounds like coming out, honestly. I mean, I'm not saying that's what they think it is, but like even just this idea of like, am I too late is like, I feel like that's a question that a lot of us ask ourselves. And so like you kind of have to suffer in a short-term moment so that whenever you're eventually ready for it to happen, you can finally like break these patterns that they made, they being whoever's keeping you keeping you down. And I feel like that's really strong. Also love that halftime section in there. Just like, man, I'm so glad that we got to listen to them this week so that now I can just like binge all the rest of their music. They only have like a handful of songs, but Fox Cult, I feel like for me, you're next up. I'm really excited to see them develop. Yeah. I think they claim a label, a genre called Stargaze, which is not something that I have looked into if other bands claim that or if that's something that they invented. I don't know, but it's like a mix of shoegaze and metalcore, post-hardcore, but kind of like with this like space opera, kind of cinematic sound to it as well. Reminds me of Starset a little bit, which is not at all the same type of band, but I really like Starset, kind of cinematic rock. Yeah, that's our Fox Cult block. Now, Nikki, it's time to see if you or I are correct as we transition into See You Space Cowboy. That the title, their band name comes from the end credits of Cowboy Bebop. So all you anime fans out there, which I'm not one of them, yes, it is that reference. And they are from San Diego, California, and they have 140K listeners. So quite a bit more popular. They've released a new album this year. That's what the second song is going to be off of. But to start, we're going to be listening to Misinterpreting Constellations.
Silence, everywhere.
Right. See you, Space Cowboy. Mike, I'm gonna need your genre labels on this and the next song since they change genres every release. I want to know, how would you describe it? Um, yeah, I mean, this for me, I think is a resting heart rate. As I look for my thing, it's resting. Um, I I feel like it's just like I know they can be more interesting than this in my mind, right? Like I really like all the colors that they're giving, but it feels like it almost feels like bookending the song with like the more interesting abrasive sections, and then the middle of the song is kind of a standard metalcore song. Solid imagery. Like it's mostly feels like the lyrics are images and imagery around a theme rather than like a specific story being told or anything like that. Um, and I feel like their rhythm section is great, right? Like there's so many rhythmic shifts throughout this song that the drums and to a large extent the guitars, because the guitars also kind of mirror that quite a lot. Really, really strong. I love a clap clap right before one of those sections. I think that's just kind of like they're very theatrical. This band, as the next album will prove quite a bit. Um, but yeah, this I feel like the ending section of this exemplifies sasscore, or like it is an example of the genre sasscore, and that's kind of what I link to them most strongly. And I feel like it takes a little bit of getting used to, right? Like there's these like very sassy, talky sort of vocal styles, which can kind of be like almost humorous if you're not expecting it, and it's like if it really clashes with your general sense of like singing and screaming, because it feels very out of left field. But I find it to be really compelling once you kind of get used to it, right? Like it's another flavor. It's kind of how I felt about Knocked Loose the first time I heard them. I was like, this guy's screaming that way for real. That's kind of ridiculous. But then the songs just get good enough and you get kind of used to it, and it eventually sounds really heavy and badass. And those chromatic guitar licks, I feel like too, really contributes to, I feel like the challenging nature of some of this genre of sasscore, just because it's very angular and like non-melodic. But let's see where we go from here. So the next album, this next track is going to be off of their latest album, which came out earlier this year, Chewing the Scenery. Yeah, baby. That's an off the charts for me. It's all panic chords all the way through. I don't know. I feel like the it is like both. I feel like it has the deepest of melodies that you're gonna get from them, and also like the deepest of heavy sections. It's really a good song. It's also relatively accessible for them. You know, it's not like the most angular, chaotic, crazy thing, which for me I feel like is helpful because I like a little bit of chaos, but like too much of it, and it overwhelms me. Um, but then yeah, I feel like it's also just so emo. It feels like it's a throwback to some extent. You know, it's like who'll stop the bleeding as you're stabbing my heart with the dullest of knives. It's so emo, and I love it. You know, it brings out the Hawthorne Heights kid. It's so it just like it's so silly and over the top, and it really works for me. I just think the vocals throughout are so good. Like just there's that the sass core kind of like talky vocals. The screams are great. Obviously, this we hear a lot more of the clean singing too, and I feel like Connie is really strong in that area as well. Um, just all these little sections. I feel like the timeout restart, this little like 4 line section after that feels just like kind of a quintessential metalcore verse that has the Sea of Space Cowboy signature right on it. You know, even the most generic sounding sections are elevated by their signature sound, and I feel like that's really great. Also, the panning. I was pointing to my headphones, and the bridge is just going back and forth like crazy. It's like kind of really, really wild production choices to just like carry that on for as long as they did. Maybe not my favorite thing, but I feel like it is effective. So it goes. Excuse me. But yeah, this is like I feel like this is a band that like I really want to get more into, but I just something always stops me every time I try, you know, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just inaccessible enough. This is like obviously, like I mentioned, a pretty accessible version of their sound. So another band I feel like I got to revisit because they've got all the ingredients. I feel like there's a real chance that they could be something great. That being said, let's move on to a band that is approximately half as popular. We're going to move on to the band RDO, where I couldn't find a whole lot about them in a brief Google. They got 73K monthly listeners. They have 1 or 2 albums out, a couple albums out, and we're going to start with an older track of theirs called Product of My Own Design. Totally missed the backgrounds for Sea of Space Cowboy. Too many moving parts.
kid, I was back there, would never dream of being free. Yes, I've been gone a lot. No questions, please. I do not owe you answers. Just let me rest in pieces of a broken mind, trying to undefine myself by ancient words. I put my power first. No, I don't think you heard. This land don't need a herd. I was created by on high to write my own damn word. Get on your knees and pray to me. The problem child becomes the only God you'll ever see. Make me believe that I was never mine. I made my goddamn self a product of my own design.
Okay, that's Rdio, and I think that's an off the charts for me. I didn't know what to expect at all from this band. I've never listened to them for a second, and I'm really impressed by both the content, the the self-empowerment, and I mean, knowing the only thing I know about them really are that they have two non-binary members, including the vocalist who's probably writing the lyrics. I'm assuming this song is about embracing your identity as a non-binary person, like the empowerment that can come to that. And I felt like this worked for me as far as that goes. I felt like this is a real strong, grab 'em by the balls kind of lyricism that sounded awesome to me. And the most interesting thing about this in my book was like it really fluctuated quite seamlessly between highly electronic production and analog sounding production. Like the choruses all sounded like they were just, analog instruments. You got an analog drum kit and a distorted guitar, and that's what you're hearing. And then it would just kind of slide. It didn't seem very out of place in my mind, but it just kind of slid into this more electronic world where you had like really rapid 808s in the background, and the guitars kind of morphed into this really more effect laden. You couldn't even tell necessarily that they were guitars. Like they had this kind of filter coming out, this like bassy, filtery warble to the track that made it retain its heaviness while it kind of like slid in and out of that electronic sound. And I thought that was a really interesting duality. A lot of times the electronics will feel like they come out of nowhere, or they'll be like out of place, or they really want to be the hero. And I felt like this was in that middle ground between, is this a produced album, or like is the production giving this all of its sound, or is it played in like, could you play this on stage in the same way? And like sits in a very interesting middle ground with that. So that being said, this is one of their earlier songs, so let's move to one of their more recent songs from their album Babyface. This is Babyface.
You still forgot me. Did wanna cut me up.
Okay, RDO, second song from their group, and for me, that's just a resting. So, and I think it's a low resting at that. Yeah, Nikki, if you just got back, I actually think you should listen to the previous RDO song. I'm just curious. I feel like if you liked this, you might like the other one. I certainly liked it more, at least. Yeah, I feel like it retains. The lyrics are one of the things that I'm struggling with this that keep it down. It retains the directness from the previous song, but I'm like not as into it this time. I feel like the rhymes are kind of weak, right? Like there's in the chorus, you think you know who I am because you've seen my face. You think you know what I've done and who I've done it with. But then the next two lines, name kind of rhymes with face. So it's like A-B-A-A, and that just like glances off of my ear in a 4-line rhyme scheme. But like musically, it's like, nice and chunky. So it's not like a total loss. And I feel like the bridge just kind of like lets the air out of the song, like the final chorus does come in with that like sort of soaring vocal, like, just like those held notes that get held out for a while. And I feel like that does build. It is a bit of a build, but the bridge is just like, it's almost like it's too long. It just lets all the air out. So maybe if you make that a little shorter, it would be a little bit better. Who the hell is Babyface? Right? That's one of the things I feel like Babyface is like an alternate, alter ego of sorts is kind of the way I'm thinking about it. I think this might be addressed to themselves. Like, the you is not a you like an actual person out there. The you is like actually about me. But I only came out with that theory like halfway through the song, so I feel like that kind of changed my perspective and how I was looking at it as we went. So I don't know. Maybe it's a concept album. Who knows? Let's move on. Let's go to our next artist, which is Scene Queen. No, it's not. Just kidding. I have things in a different album. It's right there in front of my screen. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at my notes. Our next artist is the Hears Collective. So very different, very, very different from RDO. The Hears Collective is the low, just barely the low number for the night as far as monthly listeners on Spotify, 25,000. They are local though, from Philly. What's up? Represent. They are a queer punk music collective. They technically don't have specific members, but really they have 2 members. It's one of those things. Like, technically it's nobody, but it's those 2 plus this huge rotating cast of guest musicians that come in and guest on their tracks. I feel like if you looked at their most recent album, it's just like artist after artist after artist after artist mentioned on every different track. There's 2 or 3 different artists who are contributing to those tracks. It's pretty awesome. It's definitely unusual. It's not a super group because those are not permanent members of the band. It's just like they get anyone and everyone to make music with them and still retain a relatively consistent sound. Obviously it changes depending on who's working on stuff with them, but it's a pretty cool project. So we're going to start with It's Okay to Be Sick. I'm going to pull the lyrics up here. There we go. Might be the heaviest of the night right now. Let's find out. There it is. Simple as that. In, out, done. It's arresting. I feel like when you have a 1 minute long, hardcore punk song, that's probably the best you're going to get from me. Simple, heavy, true hardcore shit. Although obviously like positivity in hardcore is a big thing. I feel like you can't get much more positive than that, than a spoken word interlude where ask us if you need anything is the real payoff there. I feel like it's radical, but it's a little simple. So we'll see where we go to from there. The next song, it features another Philly band, Soul Glow. It features Soul Glow, and it features Escuela Grind, who I think have had some turmoil in recent weeks. I don't really know a lot about it, so not an endorsement if they suck. I have no idea. Let's check it out. Waste Not, Want Not. Bit more complex lyrically, this one. Yo, that's a hell of a bleh at the end. That is a hell of a bleh. Oh man. I feel like, yeah, I mean it's arresting for me as a track. This is one of those tracks that I feel like is I'm more intrigued by it in the album context, right? Because again, it's pretty short. It's 1:38 long. And things like that interlude, that middle section where it's just like the conversation happening in the background and like a baby crying is like extremely compelling to me. I feel like that's just really an unusual part. It's unusual to hear that in the middle of this hardcore song, right? And it certainly feels like it's so specific that it gives me the feeling of like the statement of the song without saying anything, right? Like needing to take care of a baby, and it's not that the baby's crying in relationship to the music, it's that it's just the idea of a family and making family work. And then obviously you got the background of all the lyrics to go against that, and then like whatever the rest of the album is, what comes next, right? I'm trying. I feel like that's extremely powerful. I just wish you could know that I'm trying. I really like that circular riff at the end of one of these verses. I think it was the last pre-bridge verse. In the first verse, it feels like the vocals are like almost like they're far from the mic. It's like a little bit too quiet for me, which is confusing. It's not, I just, you don't need to change anything about it. Just turn them up a little bit. I don't know. So yeah, I feel like this is a really compelling song, but obviously it's like too, for me, it's too tight of an idea to stand on its own as a track, and makes me really interested into like what comes before it, what comes after it, what does it feel like in context? Because I feel like it's got the potential to be really hard hitting. All right. Yeah, you're not crazy, Nikki. I felt like it was just the first verse. The second verse came in super strong and loud and like exactly what I wanted to hear. And I was like, what the heck? That doesn't make sense to me. But oh well. Let's move on. I didn't realize the Heroes Collective would take so little time. 2 songs, less than 3 minutes, or around 3 minutes exactly. It's wild. Let's move forward to Scene Queen, for real this time. Scene Queen is the most popular by far of everyone on this list. 888,000 monthly listeners, and believe Scene Queen is a solo artist out of New York, who has coined the style bimbo core. So get ready for that. We're going to listen to some bimbo core. No idea what that means, but I have a couple ideas. It's supposed to be a fusion of metalcore and feminist themes and things like that. So that's really exciting. No comment. Nikki, no comment. Meanwhile, she's also on tour. I mean, I'm going to see her in a month or so. I believe she's on the Adobe Summer School tour, which is a pretty rad tour that's kind of recapturing a mini Warped Tour vibe. You know, a ton of up and coming, like decently popular bands in the scene, including Honey Revenge, will be on it. And I'm really hyped for it. A lot of really good bands. Scene Queen is one that I have not heard yet. So we'll be interested to see what we're working with. Never heard Scene Queen before, so let's do it and dive in.
Hey girl, hey ma, bite tongue, lockjaw, show skin, short skirt, your drool, white shirt. Oh, you like me now, bad bitch on the prowl. Straight dudes, big dogs, lock 'em up, chow. Pink tag, wrapped around his big toe. Put the scum in a bag, let his wife know. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a week since my last confession. Pink Rover, please send the coward over. And if that bastard whistles, put a knife up to his bone or cut him. Do you like that? Red light, yellow light, pink light, no.
What is
You'll never,
going
ever,
on?
ever, ever take me home. Touch me again, I'll fucking scream. Covered in blood, just girly things. Pink Rover, please send the coward over. And if that bastard whistles, put a knife up to his bone or cut him. Do you like that? Do you like that? Down on your knees, boy. Boo-hoo. Scene Queen's coming for you. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a week since my last confession, and too long since these motherfuckers learned a lesson.
What the hell is going on? Oh my god. It's an off the charts. It's gotta be. I'm not saving this song, but it is an off the charts, no question. I feel like I haven't heard such an earnest, crazy swing in a long time, right? Just the transitions are so jarring, as far as like, you know, cut them right into just like pretty simplistic, but just like bang you over the head with some chords, and then straight back into sort of this like electronic hyper pop, like bubblegum, childish, very, very childish. So much of this is childish. Pink Rover, please send the coward over. And then down in your knees, boy, boo hoo. Like this is mashing up the like childhood like songs, playground songs with metal and electronic like prop production, and it's all just way more direct than I ever imagined, right? Like, I mean, you say metalcore and feminist themes. I mean, like, I was thinking of something that was like a little more subtle, and instead we're putting a knife up to his boner. I never in a million years expected to hear that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, it's definitely not at all how I imagined this would go. And Nikki, to your point about Tramp Stamps, I feel like Tramp Stamps is a little more polished and consistent, right? Like I definitely hear some of the directness of the lyrics similar, but I feel like this is giving way more, wearing its influence on its sleeves and just like vacillating rapidly through crazy different colors. So let's see what's next, right? Like this is early Scene Queen. Let's move to more recent Scene Queen. Whips and Chains. 18 plus. Whips and Chains is the album.
I'm the queen. Headline spot goes to the abuser. Half my idols are fucking losers. If I'm the bitch just starting rumors, what about the dogs turn into groomers? Could band save their fans, oh I laugh at the irony. Shitheads get off on blatant misogyny. I'll go full ice pick lobotomy. If I see one more, no tap apology. I'm sick of good people getting overlooked. If a bitch wants to be famous, tell him write a better hook, pussy. Pink wristbands on the gas lights, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus. Pink wristbands on the gas lights, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus. 18 plus, 18 plus, get those children off your bus. 18 plus, 18 plus, get those children off your busted. If nice guys finish last, then a stadium tour is a victory lap. If the shoe fits, shove it up your ass. Does prison come with an AA pass? Slap on the wrist, no one gives a shit. It is what it is, it is what it is. Slap on the wrist, no one gives a shit. Too old for this. Get it? Pink wristbands on the gas lips, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus. Pink wristbands on the gas lips, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus. 18 plus, 18 plus, get those children off your busted.
The allegations that have been made against a member of are a matter we do not take lightly. Oh they did it again.
I'm sick of good people getting overlooked. If a bitch wants to be famous, tell him write a better hook, pussy. Pink wristbands on the gas lips, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus. Pink wristbands on the gas lips, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus. 18 plus, 18 plus, get those children off your bus. 18 plus, 18 plus, get those children off your busted.
Refreshing page.
Shame on you!
Yo, 18 plus. I didn't expect it to be what it was. It's another off the charts for me, and also another one that I probably won't save. It's a little closer on that, but that's a off the charts for pure audacity. Just what you said, Nikki. I completely agree. I mean, this is like so pointed to all of those canceled bands and the bands that continue to cancel themselves. The Notes app apology, so specific, and anyone who follows the scene knows exactly what that means, right? Like all those apologies written on the Notes app, posted to stories. Just this is perfect, right? Like in terms of the content of calling out all of the predators in the scene, just by name, through all the imagery. I love the wordplay. Get those children off, you're busted. I think that's hysterical. You know, that the chorus just gives me a big like Korn, Limp Bizkit kind of like very simplistic like nu metal guitar vibe. I do feel like it's a little too cheeky for me in the bridge. This oh shit they did it again. This kind of like recurring electronic voice that comes in a couple times. That's a little bit too cheeky, too conceptual for me. I'd like rather just have something more sonic to drive us through. Yeah, Nikki, you're right. I think about the choruses. Like, I do want a little bit more evolution because it comes out like 3 times throughout the song, which is like kind of standard. But I do want, we get it a little bit at the end. This last 18 plus. Oops. Sorry, we get it at the end with this last 18 plus section. There are some screams that come in the background, and I mean, she sounds like she can scream pretty damn well. That's pretty great. I'm just shocked at the audacity, like you said. Like I'm blown away by how direct it is, and how popular she's gotten. You know, this is the more recent stuff, right? So this is like post popularity, or maybe the cause of popularity, perhaps. I don't know the order of events, but like post popularity, using your platform to just like acknowledge that this is such a thing, and go full rage mode about the state of the scene. It's great. You know, you almost wish she named names, is my only take. The only thing that's missing, right? Like name some bands. I mean, we all know who does this, but maybe like put someone on blast, put the nail in their coffin, you know? Anyway, definitely intrigued to see her live. Just to see, it's so specific. Like, you know, especially, so she's on the summer school tour, like I mentioned, and the summer school tour has like 8 bands on it or something like that. You know, it's a big tour, and I feel like this is going to stick out like a big old sore thumb in the middle of it potentially. I'm really curious as to how audiences will react, just like knowing who else is on the tour. I mean, the tour skews a little bit more of the pop, you know, on the poppy side of pop punk. And I imagine a lot of people who go will know her. She's 888,000 listeners, but it definitely is the most singular sound of everyone on that tour. So that's something that's exciting, and very intriguing to me. Very stacked tour. Definitely one of my most hyped shows this summer, just for sheer number of awesome bands, many of whom I've seen before. So let's close it out. We're going to ending with Trash Boat, which is a band I've known for a while, and I didn't know that they were queer. I mean, specifically just the lead singer. The lead singer is bi, and apparently that's a known thing, and I just didn't know it, which is like, okay, makes me like them even more now. So we're gonna listen to one of their older songs. Wait, I might have done this in reverse. Let me check the backgrounds. Yeah, I think I did this in reverse on this with Trash Boat. So, oh well. Yep, that's fine. We're gonna start with Break You, which is a new song. This is the one where this is their newest I believe it's their newest song. They released 2 new singles very recently. This is one of them. Let's check it out. I do need the lyrics from elsewhere. So many moving parts, y'all. All right. Here's Break You.
Here we go again. Compare my joy to death. Failing every challenge sent. Here we go. Again.
Okay, that is Trash Boat with Break You. Yeah, I think for me that's a flat line. It's close. So Nikki, I see you say you like the chorus a lot. To me, I didn't really like the chorus myself. I feel like lyrically feels just very rock, generic rock chorus. And the vocals, like the clean vocals on this track feel like way different from how I remember them sounding on other tracks. You know, like I feel like they're way more nasally and maybe and like almost, I hate to use this word, but like whinier sounding. It just didn't like connect with me. And now I'm like questioning, do I remember what Trash Mode sounds like? But I mean, I think I do. It just sounded this sounded like mid 2010s British radio rock to me, you know. I don't mind the verses. I feel like the verses are solid, like at least the driving nature, but pretty much the only melodic, the only musical piece that I really liked. It's like one idea throughout the whole song that I really liked a lot was sort of that like sliding guitar section that just made it sound like more panicky, like a almost like a siren going off. Wow, wow, wow. But that's pretty much it, you know. Like that's all that grabbed me. And I feel like the intro particularly really didn't grab me at all until it dropped into the verse. So yeah, this is like British Papa Roach. And I like me some Papa Roach, but this isn't it for me. That being said, let's go back in time. Let's rewind a little bit to the era of Trash Boat's album entitled "Don't You Feel Amazing." We're gonna listen to the track He's So Good off of that, which I haven't heard in a very, very long time. So let's check it out.
Couldn't paint you a picture with 1,000 words. He discovered the truth from things he overheard. They have a son among the accursed. If it's true that we choose, what's it gonna do with you? Makes me wanna scream. He's so good when he talks to his mother. She found out that we were lovers. His father disappeared, like he was never here. It makes me wanna scream. Oh! Nothing's changed from the kid they raised. Never look back, just do same things. They never say we don't deserve. When you get what you fucking deserve, he's so good when he talks to his mother. She found out that we were lovers. His father disappeared, like he was never here. It makes me wanna scream. He broke down when he lost his mother, but he found love in the arms of another. His father so austere, his boys are fucking queer. It makes him wanna scream. He's so good when he talks to his mother. She found out that we were lovers. His father disappeared, like he was never here. It makes me wanna scream. He broke down when he lost his mother, but he found love in the arms of another. His father so austere, his boys are fucking queer. It makes him wanna scream. When he talks to his mother, she found out that we were lovers. His father disappeared, like he was never here. It makes me want to scream.
Okay, Trash Boat with He's So Good. Resting for me, low resting. I feel like it gets a boost like so many other songs. I really respect the directness when talking about identity or something that's not even identity. Identity is one big area where I respect the directness, but like mental health, anything that's like extremely personal and potentially charged, I really do appreciate lyrical directness. This song being an opportunity for people to ask the question, like, is the guy from Trash Boat gay? Is he allowed to say that? And then finding out about it and being like, oh my God, one of my favorite bands is queer. For some of those people, like, I think it's a big, important thing that music and identity can do to people. It's a big difference that compared to like a pronoun flip every now and then, or just general vagueness in lyrics leaving you to wonder. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing either, but it's different. Then I also think that like the scream is so funny to me. It makes him want to scream. It's like, dude, he can scream. Like this is a vocalist that we hear in the song scream. Shouldn't we scream there? I don't know. It just comes across as like a little phony to me whenever we know that you can actually like let loose. Sub Radio, I struggle with, Nikki, because I feel like I know them too well, and I don't think of them as being a part of the scene. I think of them as being pop, like pure pop. I know a lot of times some of the things we listen to, there's like a crossover, but I feel like they definitely straddle that line between pop and pop punk. So I'll have to think about it, but I have been leaving them off kind of intentionally, just thinking about the genre spread of these playlists. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is like a more way more specific song than the previous song that we listened to. But musically, yeah, it is still like doesn't quite speak to me in that world. Technically this is the last song on our playlist, but I feel like I almost want to listen to one more Trash Boat song to just like remind me what I like. Because I do really like, I'm pretty sure Strangers is the one that I really, really like. And to me, it just sounds so different from both of those albums. This is a Trash Boat that I'm looking for. I think this is just an earlier album, potentially. I'll find that out while we let this play. Yeah, okay. So long ago, right? This album came out in 2016. The He's So Good came out in 2021, 5 years later. And then 3 years after that, we got the first song we heard. Total genre shift.
Like your bedroom. Good place to building, it's caving. The wall trace the clamps and just wait for it to swallow me whole. How stupid I've been to think it'd be easy. Hostile and faceless, but you see right through me. One forced you down. Never will I get so touching you around. Heartbeat.
baby. Now that's what I wanted. Obviously, they matured, they got older, they kind of went more in a rock sort of direction, but that's the song that got to me from Trash Boat, and I love it. Featuring an uncredited Dan Campbell from the Wonder Years in there. Yeah, I feel like this is a little bit more The Story So Far, Knuckle Puck, Real Friends sort of vibe, and that's just more my thing. Because for me, that's an off the charts. As if we had any doubt, since this is a song I randomly saved and brought up. But that's it. That's the playlist for the week, right? Thanks for joining me on this first edition of Pride Night on the Pulse of Music. Next week, we're going to continue the same theme and the same approach. June ain't over. We got another week in June. So we're going to come at you for one more week with the same approach. Albums, songs by queer musicians, non-binary musicians, trans musicians. We got people like Senses Fail. We got people like Stand Atlantic. We got people like Pupil Slicer. We're running the gamut, baby. We got Honey Revenge. We're gonna play them next week. I can't wear the shirt. It's like a concert, right? You can't wear your shirt to the show. I gotta wear my shirt. I can't wear my shirt to the stream where I'm playing them, right? I gotta wear them this week. So stay tuned for that next week. I think it'll be another really great list. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about my journey because it's gonna matter, and it's probably gonna be too sappy and too emotional. And who wants to hear that? Well, I guess I want to tell it. Regardless, really excited for that. Make sure you subscribe so that you get notified when this is going on. It'll be next Tuesday at 8 p.m. And then follow me on social media, of course. Remember, my name is Josh, and I've got my finger on the pulse of music. See ya next week. Happy Pride, everybody.